monsters, I'm finally feeling better. It's great to be back, and I have been obsessed with this idea that my dad just randomly said while I was sick, and I've been waiting literally like a month to do it. My family and I love watching The Simpsons, and to realize that we're actually rewatching all of it. My tripod isn't liking me today, sorry, but we got to the episode in season 2, Brush with Greatness, and in this, it is also revealed that she paints a lot of Ringo Star, and my dad just randomly said, like, you know, I'm surprised people aren't copying those. And I was like, I wonder if I could paint like Marge Simpson. Can I replicate one of her Ringo Star paintings? Also, I'm like 90% sure when I was a child, I copied that little sailboat painting when I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure I repainted it like years ago. But this is what we're gonna do today. Here's a blank canvas. It is time to see, am I as talented as one of the most famous cartoon moms? Can I paint like Marge Simpson?
On the surface, I did not expect this challenge to be really all that difficult. I'm someone that's been watching this show for as long as I can remember. I was basically born to be a Simpsons fan. Simpsons, Seen It, Simpsons, Monopoly, all the Simpsons video games. You name a Simpsons IP thing, I've probably had it throughout my life. And if anyone's curious, my favorite was always Simpsons Hit and Run. Right below that was Simpsons Road Rage. It's just always been a part of my life, and it's to the point where, especially some of the older episodes, I can recite them word for word. Like, especially the 22 short films of Springfield, I can probably say that entire episode word for word. And if you ask me, this painting was just a natural progression for me as an artist, someone that, like, I see the bits of The Simpsons in my art style. I see a lot of cartoons in my art, to be honest. And I was so excited just to start this project that it took me maybe 3-4 hours nonstop. I barely stopped and took breaks during this piece. And if you know me, you know that it's hard for me to finish something in one day. However, that does not mean this piece was easy. For one, as you saw me sketching, proportions are not my friend, and that is because there's the sheer size difference when it comes to this piece. I'm painting on 8x10, but I looked at this show a lot, and Marge doesn't work at that kind of scale. My best guess, it was probably an 11x14, if maybe a 12x16 canvas that she was working on, and that's just from me knowing what I know about Marge, and shrinking is not that easy to deal with. The other issue comes with, well, there's just been a lot of Simpsons episodes, and I know a lot of people looking at this show probably wouldn't say, oh, The Simpsons hasn't changed, The Simpsons hasn't really done much at all different. There's a lot of differences between now and when I started looking at this. Season 2 was in 1991. I wasn't alive back then. We're on season 34 now in 2024. The characters have actually changed a lot, and the art style has evolved to the point where it's very much almost not the same art style anymore, I would argue. The colors are drastically different. The proportions are really different. Line weight, so much things are different. There isn't that hand-drawn appeal anymore when it comes to The Simpsons versus season 2 versus season 34. The computer animation, the insanely bright colors, the outrageous movement that I can't really say was there in prior seasons of The Simpsons, and not really in any other shows nowadays, one could say. Just for reference, while we're working on the star here are some images of the iconic Simpsons kitchen throughout the seasons 1, 10, 20, and 30. And if you ask me, literally none of these even look close to the same, and it shows that the colors are being so dulled down and almost kind of muted so that yellow pops so much. And when I was mixing colors, my brain went to the fact originally that, like, oh, this will be easy. The Simpsons are just yellow. And nothing really looked right. I mean, I was struggling. Like, why does my Simpsons yellow not look like the Simpsons yellow I'm used to? And I realized that's the difference. I was trying to color match hand-drawn Simpsons animation on a screen when I'm already used to the computer-generated Simpsons animation. I'm used to the computer stuff. Back then, there was kind of a limited color palette across the whole show, and I realized this when I kept looking at this piece, that now we can make any color under the sun. And looking at this piece now, that blue is in the Simpsons kitchen. That green is on the trees. It's in the grass. And I'd even argue that's Marge's dress green. That orange on his shirt that you'll see in a little bit, that's Bart's special orange shirt. And I guess while I'm saying this, it is slightly jumping ahead in the video, but I'm working on Ringo's hair, and you'll see it right there. His hair is black, but there is a chunk of his hair that is not going to be black. It's actually going to be a very bright blue, and I was always racking my brain about, like, why is this a thing? Why is this random chunk blue? I've never really seen this much in art. And when I tried to look this up, I actually found something I really wanted to share in terms of art history, but also comic books. This same thing actually happened to Spider-Man before. Yes, and I am talking about Peter Parker here. Spider-Man. In one of his first comic book appearances, his suit is being shown as mostly black with this blue highlight, just like Ringo's hair in this piece. Some actually took that as his suit was blue, but originally, from his first artist rendition, Spider-Man's suit was not supposed to be red and blue. It was always supposed to be black and red. For a solid bit of time, his suit was interpreted as black. Through a few artists, it was interpreted as being a black suit. Eventually, one guy just decided, yep, nope, it's gonna be blue. It's gonna be red and blue instead. And I find this actually really interesting that turns out this is an old art thing when I learned a few years ago that essentially the same thing happened to Alice Liddell from Alice in Wonderland, who for decades was always portrayed as being in a yellow dress versus the blue dress, and the blue dress came from a certain house of mouse because only one guy said, nope, it's gonna be our Alice, so our Alice is gonna be blue, and then after that literally every Alice Liddell is blue, and instead of yellow like the original Alice's, which I find enjoyable. That's enough for art history though, and back to the artwork. I don't think I'll really be able to do anything with this financially. Like, I don't think I can do prints or put it on Redbubble because it is Simpsons artwork. It's literally from the show. But I will say this, for video purposes, it's a lot of fun to attempt to bring something from the screen to life in a whole new way. I was drawing Simpsons, I was drawing South Park, I was drawing Family Guy from pretty close accuracy just because I was a dweeb that watched too many cartoons. And it's not just, oh, cool, I'm making fan art. It's more for me, I'm making a special piece from one of my favorite episodes, which, in case anyone's wondering, my actual favorite Simpsons episode is Lisa's First Word, because I'm an older sibling. I have that kind of Bart and Lisa age gap to a certain degree, and I love the fact that as a sibling, that episode means so much to me, especially being the older sibling in the picture. I don't think the kids in my family would call me May May. I wouldn't have a lot of my fun memories as a child if it wasn't for my sibling. We kind of just are Bart and Lisa sometimes, and that's just awesome that I get to look at that episode and see me and my sibling. But as this video is wrapping up and the piece is finally taking shape and it's really starting to give that old school Simpsons that I was wanting my entire life, I want to thank you guys for being here, sticking with me. I know it's been a while, and I will be honest when I say bronchitis is one of the worst things I've ever had. I'd like to never be sick for a month straight in my life, especially not the month of January. I'm gonna also be honest here. January is my least favorite month, and I wish January didn't exist. I very much feel this sentiment I've seen online, like, yeah, no, January lasted 6 months. February is the actual start of the month this year because we're all just tired of it. I was tired of January on January 7th. Just, I cannot deal with it anymore. I'm glad that I'm feeling better. I'm glad that I'm back to myself again, because when I was sick, I did not have the energy to do much of anything, really. I was not painting, I was not drawing, I wasn't even playing Sims. It was a tough month, honestly, so I'm glad that I was able to just hit the ground running and do this in such a short amount of time for me, because usually paintings take me days, weeks. One of my more recent pieces actually took me months because I wasn't confident enough to do it. But now that I'm here again, I actually do have my confidence back. I do actually have more ideas for this. I kind of want to make it a little series of, well, I guess, I don't really know what you'd call this. It is fan art, but it's also, I'm making art that's already art in shows, so I don't really know what I'd really call this. I guess it's just, can I paint like fictional artists? A fictional artist series? That's actually a good idea for it, maybe. But if you guys see other artwork in shows you want to see me take a crack at, you want to see me do more Marge, I can probably do more Marge. I know she's painted a few things through the show. My only ask is that If you genuinely respect me and enjoy me and like my art, please don't make me paint Mr. Burns. I refuse. I will not. But as this piece is finally finishing up, I know it's been a while and I'm really sorry that for a speed paint this is even long. I'm usually not used to doing speed paint things like this. I'm not used to just shut up and paint. Usually that's not my deal, but I wanted to give it a shot. I wanted to try something different with my video coming back, and I wanted to just be in the zone. And I'm really proud of how this little piece right here turned out, where Marge Bouvier does Marge B. I actually put Madison B in like the same style, and it was really interesting to me that I got to like mimic how her M does and her A, and really just getting to like put the Marge on it, essentially. My muscle memory almost put Marge, if I'm going to be honest. Like, nope, I had to put my name. I painted it, so I have to do it. But I really loved this piece, and I love how it turned out. My family is, like, really ecstatic that I was able to get this close to it, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't think I would get this close. The only thing I'm not happy with is the mouth. If I'm going to be honest, the mouth is just a little bit jacked up. But it's okay, because I wasn't exactly looking for a direct copy. I wasn't trying to dupe Marge in a way. I was seeing if I could emulate one of my favorite cartoon moms, one of my favorite characters over the past 30 years, even though I've only been alive for 25 years, that kind of thing. But just, I'm really, really proud of this. And now that we're finally done with this, I think there's really only one thing we can do with this piece of Ringo Star, right?
Thanks for the fab painting of yours truly. I hung it on me wall. You're quite an artist.